There you are, innocently playing one of your favorite E-rated video games. When suddenly, out of nowhere, you are slapped across the TV screen by a pair of sour, sweaty boys. Maybe they even brought along their commander, Sergeant Johnson. These are the kinds of situations we'll be dealing with in this episode, as we journey through a sack's worth of unlikely games to find the hidden, or sometimes very obvious, genital jokes in DEEZ NUTZ.
Got him!
An ode to Nintendogs. Game Fact Special. Super Mario 3D World. Every Dick and Jane knows Nintendo as the family-friendly video game company. The games they put their mark on rarely venture into the overly violent or risque, with a few notable exceptions, like Eternal Darkness, Geist, or the recently released Bayonetta 3. However, that fact doesn't stop sneaky programmers and level designers from incorporating a few naughty visuals. Take this instance in Super Mario 3D World, for example. The game was originally released on the Wii U in 2013, and contained this phallic pathway to a star in World 4's castle level. Players agree it's a hard star to get in the game. The path itself could be ignored, if not for the two blue bulging P-switches on either side of that path. Two Ps, side by side, PP, not very subtle, level designers. It's worth noting that the path remains fully erected in all of its lengthy glory in the 2021 re-release of the game on Nintendo Switch. Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. It turns out Mario games have a long history of innuendos. In 1992's Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, there is an entire section entitled Mario Zone. In it, the Italian plumber enters what looks to be a Pacific Rim giant fighting robot version of himself through the stomach? Maybe a different part, just a little south? That point is perfectly reasonable to speculate on. Until you enter the level and are bombarded by balls. Mario stomps on balls. Enemies shoot balls at him. There are spiky balls, bouncy balls, balls in the background. Just everywhere you look, balls. There definitely seems to be some testicular tomfoolery going on in this one, regardless of how wholesome Mario's public persona is. But this might also be one of the most tasteful instances of adult humor in a Nintendo game. Banjo-Tooie. The Mad Lads at Rare have filled the Banjo games with more than a few lowbrow Easter eggs, but this one in Banjo-Tooie is probably the most organ-like. In Banjo-Tooie, it's possible to get this bird's eye view of Mumbo's skull in World 5 that shows something that certainly doesn't seem like it fits in with the rest of the game's E for Everyone rating. It's well, it kinda speaks for itself, doesn't it? You'd probably never notice the shape if you never looked down on it from high up, but it's really undeniable once you're up there. Wait, if this area is Mumbo's skull, does that make this path Mumbo's... Oh no. The Page Master. We wouldn't blame you if you don't remember or have never even heard of The Page Master. It's a kids movie from 1994. That's almost 30 years ago, and while it was a very cool movie in its time, it probably doesn't hold up in terms of quality by today's standards. And neither does the game based on the movie. In the Game Boy version of the game, there are cheat codes. The first code changes the falling object hazards in the bonus game into a massive spooky face, which happens to be the face of the founder of the dev studio that made the game. And the second one does something a little more lewd. When the second cheat code is activated, the player character in that very same bonus game is turned into a bipedal dingle. Why? Somebody at Probe Entertainment probably thought it was funny. Likely the same guy whose face falls from the sky with the other cheat. Does it need to stomp and wiggle like that? No, probably not. Mario Kart Double Dash. You thought we covered all of the sus Easter eggs in Mario games at the beginning of this list? Think again. For this next example, we're going back to 2003's Mario Kart Double Dash, a certified classic and a hard-up favorite of many gamers who grew up with a GameCube. However, there's something inappropriate hidden in plain sight in one of the game's tracks. Remember Peach Beach? The sunny, sandy track that has you zooming over water and under the track's most recognizable feature, a pink curved rock formation. Have you ever taken a closer look at that formation as an adult? Go ahead, do it now. Does it look like something to you? Here, what about this aerial view? Your eyes aren't mistaken. It's a dong. This kind of thing making it into a game from 2003 is one thing, but the fact that it remained the exact same, completely uncut or edited from its original appearance in 2008, when it was remastered for Mario Kart Wii, now that's something special. It even got a resolution boost so you could see it more clearly. I suppose people would have noticed its absence, and driving under a mass of pixelation wasn't really an option. Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing. Some people like interacting with villagers, others like fishing or gardening. But whatever you do in these games, it's guaranteed to be at least two things: wholesome and relaxing. Wholesome and relaxing things were exactly what we needed in 2020 when Animal Crossing New Horizons was released, but it wasn't all decorating and interacting with your neighbors in that game. Part of the April update was an expansion to the island's museum, a brand new wing that contains many new, tasteful pieces of arts. And then there were a few new statues that are pretty nuts. For the uncultured Animal Crossing fans out there, these statues are Michelangelo's David and the Discobolus of Myron, both of which feature full-on, full-frontal male nudity. Now, maybe these get a pass because they're representations of real-life fine art, but it's still full peen, and I don't think anybody was expecting an eyeful like this in their peaceful village simulator. And that wasn't even the series' only offense. Animal Crossing New Leaf, the 2012 3DS game, also has similarly naked statues. The 3DS's low-resolution screen made it harder to see the old chap, but it's still there. Maybe he's just a grower. Rampage World Tour. When Rampage took arcades by storm in 1986, it was all about smashing buildings and wrecking the kind of havoc and chaos you might find in any giant monster movie. That was enough for us in the late 80s, but when the franchise was revived over a decade later, it needed something more. That's why, in addition to the classic demolition gameplay the series was known for, 1997's Rampage World Tour features quite a few instances of unobscured Johnson, and I'm not talking about Boris. In most instances of humans turning into giant creatures, their clothes magically shrink to match their proportions, but not in Rampage. In the original arcade game, the human characters would cover their unmentionables as they shuffled off screen. However, World Tour gives players solid looks at the equipment of George VIII and Ralph the Werewolf. You could say it's just two similarly colored pixels in an unfortunate place, but you would only be fooling yourself. Rampage only has 3 monsters, and none of them are a trouser snake. Yoshi's New Island. Yoshi's New Island makes me glad nuts don't grow in bean pods. Most of the game is just fine. You'll protect baby Mario, chuck eggs at obstacles and bad guys, and side-scroll your way to victory. But then you get to the end of World 1, and the evil wizard Kamek plants a bean enemy that grows into a beanstalk that is topped with the final boss of that world, Big Beanie. Just look at him. Do you think that shape is an accident? Do you think that the ridge at the top was somehow misplaced? Absolutely not. That's a ding-a-ling, baby. I guess it's a good thing bean pods don't contain nuts. His name's Big Beanie, but he looks more like a big pickle to me. The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. While we're talking about Nintendo, let's climax the episode with the record-breaking success of The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. The game is massively impressive and bustling with content, especially considering the hardware it somehow runs on. But there's something hidden in its equally massive open world. You might not notice it if you've never taken a good look at the map while you're in the area, but the southeast coast of Hyrule is hiding an enormous weapon, and I don't mean the Master Sword. If you complete the Bamitok Shrine by Mount Dunsel and want to see one of the best views in the game, keep heading southeast till you reach the tip of Cape Gales. Now, look out over the water and take it all in. What an incredible game this is. Now, open up your map and really look at where you are. It's the tip of Cape Gales, yes, but it looks like the tip of something else too. And the shape of the mountain at the base only adds to the illusion, with its decidedly scrotal appearance. This wasn't even one of the many additions to the map added for the sequel, since you can find the same wonker protrusion in Breath of the Wild. Super Mario Galaxy. Before we wrap up this prong party, we have a bonus game for you. Surprise! It's another Mario game. In Super Mario Galaxy, when you reach the end of the Space Junk Galaxy, you'll enter the Phantom Boss Spider Zone, where you'll have to fight Tarantox the Spider in an epic boss fight. Part of the path that has you flinging yourself through space from platform to platform is an ornate archway with a winding, twisty path up to a point that is topped with a sling pod. If you zoom out a little bit to look at where you're standing, it's clear to see. That's another mushroom head, but Toad is nowhere in sight. Even the curve in the path seems to be molded to deliberately convey a certain appearance. And with that, we've reached the end of our list. Do you know of a Nintendong that wasn't covered here? Let us know about it in the comments. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more awesome content like this, as it really helps us grow and make the kinds of videos you want to see. Until next time, this has been a Game Facts Special.